What are the best practices when selecting a site to install Centauri? Centauri is a high-performance communication solution. Therefore, site selection is crucial to have the best conditions for installation, resulting in successful deployments and maximum performance. The Centauri is specifically calibrated to support point-to-point communication links between two devices positioned a minimum of 200 meters from each other. Do not attempt to deploy links over distances of less than 200 meters, as it may cause damage to the optical components inside the device, resulting in a void of product warranty. If your deployment is intended to cover a distance of less than 200 meters, please contact Transcelestial immediately for further guidance and assistance. The most important criteria for Centauri to function properly is to ensure a clear line of sight between the locations of both devices. There should be no obstructions, either permanent or temporary, that could block the connection. Here are some examples to avoid. First, there should not be large plants or trees that might possibly grow or become obstacles as they move and sway during heavy winds. 2. Centauri should not be in front of or even nearby any object that might reflect significant sunlight or generate excessive heat, such as kitchen exhaust vents or sources of steam, smoke, and other particulate matter like chimneys or HVAC system outlets. 3. Where the device is low to the ground or has a potentially partially obstructed view over a window sill or building roof retaining wall, especially one with steel, aluminum, or other cladding that might reflect light from other sources into Centauri's optical window. Now, proper mounting support. The Centauri mount is made to be clamped onto any cylindrical structure anywhere between 3 to 4 inches, that's 7.5 to 10 centimeters, in diameter. Accepted tilt relative to vertical alignment of less than 3 degrees. The pole should be as close to vertical as possible. Centauri can be installed on poles, towers, and temporary tripod mounts. Let's start with telecommunication freestanding poles. Typical telecommunication poles are around 2 to 3 meters in height. Take a 3-meter pole, for example. The Centauri should be installed at a distance of no more than 2 meters from the base of the pole, within 50 centimeters of the legs or supports of the pole, and should be no more than 80 centimeters of excess pole above the mounting point. This helps minimize the impact of pole vibration and sway to Centauri's performance. The pole must be mounted on a heavy base or otherwise securely mounted to prevent excess motion and should have no other machinery or equipment in the vicinity of the pole. For example, the pole here on the left is too tall, while the pole on the right allows Centauri to be less than 1 meter from the attachment point on the wall and is less than 1.5 meters in total height of pole. Now, please ensure the pole is rigidly installed. There should be a concrete plinth at the base with screws and bolts attached, plus any belts or extra secure points on the pole if needed. There should also be poles installed at the walls of a building with no bases. Please ensure that there are good securing points to maintain minimal vibrations. In this case, for a 2-meter pole, there should be at least 2 securing belts on the pole that firmly attach to the wall. Telecommunication towers can follow a similar approach. Mount your Centauri as closely to a guide wire point on the tower as possible to minimize vibration. The tower must be more than 1 meter wide at the point of installation and stable as well as properly seated on a heavy foundation. There should be no other equipment mounted on the same boom or bracket on which the Centauri is mounted. If the structure of the tower is not cylindrical, then an antenna boom can be connected to be used with a mount. The antenna boom is not provided and will need to be sourced separately. Centauris can also be installed on a tripod, but this should only be considered as a temporary solution. To have a successful installation on a tripod, the tripod legs should be adjusted so that the mounting base at the top of the tripod is level. The feet of the tripod should be anchored firmly to whatever surface the tripod sits on. A proper mounting adapter should be installed on the tripod to support a cylindrical short pole measuring 3 to 4 inches in diameter, with sufficient height to install the Centauri on its regular mounting bracket, but with as little excess height above the Centauri as possible. Now proceed with mounting and installation following the instructions in the Centauri product manual. Thank you for completing the Site Selections Best Practices overview.